Hello, my name is David Broussard and welcome to the Office 365 Bootcamp. In this episode, we'll be talking about Skype for Business and the options in Office 365. Skype for Business provides us with a number of features. One of these is presence. Presence simply means that I can tell whether somebody is actually at their desk, or if they're on a conference call, or if they're away, or if they're in Do Not Disturb. That lets me know quickly whether I can go ahead and contact them, whether it's via an instant message or whether it's via a telephone call. I have a clue as to what that person is actually doing. Skype also provides me with that ability to make that instant message, so I can easily hover over a person, go ahead and send them an instant message, ask them a question. It's kind of like a text message in a sense because it's asynchronous, but it has a little bit more imperative nature than an email, but it's less so than a phone call. I could ask them, hey, do you have time to chat about this? Can I go ahead and call you and use a computer-to-computer calling? In addition to that, I can do desktop sharing and video calls all there inside of Skype. Now, at the higher level of Skype, you can also add in what's called PSTN conferencing. What that means is that when people are calling into a meeting that you have, maybe people outside your organization, they will have a telephone number, an actual phone number they can call into, that they can call from their telephone. They're not always just joining over voice over IP. And you also have the ability to do PBX replacement now, which means that instead of having your current voice over IP or traditional telephone switch that you have on premise, you can actually host it completely in the cloud by Microsoft and still have traditional telephone numbers that people can call and get to your people just like they always have. Well, let's take a look at that interface. So, let's take a look at that interface. So in the Administration Center, under the Admin Centers, there is a link for Skype for Business. And if you click that, it will actually take you to the Skype for Business administration portal. Here you can see the number of online users that you have, users that are enabled for dial-in conferencing, users in the cloud, in this case 25. This is a demo environment that we have. And from here I can actually manage all of these users. So when I go and click on the users area, it actually brings up different users. So I'll go ahead and select Eric Gruber over here, and you can see that he has audio and HD video, recording, file transfer, and shared notes. He can do external communications via Skype for Business and people on public IM networks, and his directory status is in the cloud. If I edit this, I can actually go in and modify those different settings for different users inside my organization. For example, I can decide, do I want to be able to go ahead and have him do audio and HD video, or audio only, or audio and non-HD video, or none? This would help us in a situation where I've got people who I don't want to be using webcams, or where they're in a location where the network quality is low enough that if they did video conferencing, it would actually degrade the performance of everyone. That's a situation where you might turn off HD video, or regular video, or even video entirely, or even audio entirely if you need to. All right, I can go to external communications. When I go to external communications, I can decide whom do I want to let this user communicate with. And you can see I can let them communicate with external Skype for Business users, meaning other companies that are using Skype for Business. And I can also let them communicate with other external Skype users, meaning the people who are using the consumer version of Skype. If I turn that one on, then they can actually go out and use their Skype for Business client to communicate with people who are not using Skype for Business, but they're just using the regular consumer Skype. And then lastly, I can decide who I want to use for their dial-in conferencing, whether I'm using the Microsoft one, or PGI, or Intercall, or ATT, all the different ones. I can set up what I want their toll number to be for default. I can set up a toll-free number if I want to, and I can even set up a PIN number for these individuals. The next thing that you can actually work with is take a look at your organization as a whole. You can decide, do you want to automatically display presence information, or do you want to hide that except for people who are in their contact list? So what that means is that if I set it up to the top option, everyone would know that I'm on Do Not Disturb right now. If I'm set on the second option, only those people whom I've added to my contact list will actually know that I'm on Do Not Disturb. Everyone else will get a presence unknown, and they won't know what my presence is. I can also go out and set up mobile phone notifications, which means because I have there is an app for all of the phones, I can set up whether or not I want to allow push notifications to go to Apple phones and Microsoft phones. To configure voice, I can set up the phone numbers that I have allowed. So in this case, we've got this first conference number that's set up for this particular tenant. That's a number that you can call to get into meetings for this particular tenant. I can also configure my voice users. Now in this case, I don't have anybody licensed for PBX use, right? If I did, this is where I would actually be able to create these users and put them out to have their phone number in the cloud so that people can dial into them just like they would any place else, just like they would to your normal PBX, but instead of it going to on-premise, it's actually going out to a virtual PBX running in the cloud and then routing down to their computer or to their cell phone. And then if I want to, I can also set up what's called a hybrid environment where I can set up a Skype for Business server inside of my network or on my network with a PSTN connection into it. And then I can set that up and then use those for my conference calls or my direct inward dials for my different users. If I have the Microsoft Bridge configured, which you get, it'll show me all of the numbers that we have that are out here. I can select which the default number that I want to use. I can also go out and decide how do I want the join experience to happen. In this case, I've set it to where I would let users turn on or off the meeting entry and exit notifications, and I can even say what I want their announcement type to be. Is it just a tone, or is it the name and the phone number? And do I ask callers to record their name before they're joining the meeting? I also can let people go ahead and set up their security information at that point in time. For my online meetings, here's where I can go ahead and put in a URL that I want to appear in my online meetings when I send a meeting invitation out. That would probably be a company logo, a URL they can go to get help, a URL if they want to get legal information, and any footer text I want to put on there to let them know that they're using this under certain terms and conditions. One of the nice features of Skype for Business is broadcast meetings, and these are really used not for meetings where everybody's interacting, but more where, like a webinar, where I'm talking and I'm going to have hundreds of people actually listening to me talk. Here's where I can set up Skype meeting broadcasts, which can enable me to talk to thousands of people simultaneously because the traffic is set up differently than a peer-to-peer kind of meeting. I can actually go out here and turn on the preview features if I want to. It can even do transcription and translation features inside of there to allow closed captioning and subtitles. I can schedule anonymous meetings, meaning people don't have to log in to go out there and join the meeting. And I can allow broadcast meetings to be recorded by the people who are actually viewing the meetings. And then once again, I can put in a URL for attendees to come out and actually view those meetings. Lastly, there's some tools that are out there that you can go out to help you troubleshoot when you have some problems. And then there's some reports that are out here that give you some information about who's actually using your PSTN usage, let you know how many phone calls are going out there, who's on them, when they were, when they happened, and you can also track specific session details. Well, I hope that's been helpful, and thank you very much.